It's episode 520 of the Locked On Texas Rangers podcast today on this New Year's Eve day. I'm going to be breaking down the 5 best and worst moments for the Rangers in 2021. Just the season, not the fun stuff that happened afterward. We're going to take a look at it. All that and more coming up on this episode of Locked On Rangers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Rangers, your daily Texas Rangers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On to the Texas Rangers. I'm your host, Brice Paterik, here today on the final day of 2021. A mostly terrible year for the Rangers, but it definitely ended on a high note, so I'm trying to end it on a high note as well. Thank you guys so much for making Locked On Rangers your first listen of the day. If you haven't already, go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Brice Paterik, follow the show at Locked On Rangers, and subscribe on YouTube or wherever the heck you get your podcast. Hoping to get to 1,000 YouTube subscribers by opening day. Ambitious goal, but I think we can make it happen. 2022 is going to be a much better year for the Rangers because they are not going to have to play like this. They're going to have some superstars. Everything's going to be great and fun and exciting. And I haven't really looked back that much at the season since, coming out of it. I looked a little bit at some of the individual awards and stuff like that. But it was so terrible. It just kind of sucks reliving it. But there were some really good moments in there. There were also some really bad ones. So as a fitting way to end this year that has been full of some very good moments at the end and some very bad ones in the beginning and the middle, I'm going to take the 5 best and worst moments of this Texas Rangers season. So it stops when the season is over. So I guess just like beginning of the season until the end of the season is what we're going to go with here. Because if there is like a whole year, obviously, like basically the entire top 5 would just be filled with things that have happened in the last month or so. But we're not doing that. We're going to go back and forth. I'm going to start with number 5. We're going to build up to the best and worst. So we're going to go bad, good, to kind of balance it out and end on the best thing to happen to the Rangers. But let's start off with, mild disappointment. And, what better way to start off than at the very beginning of the year? A mildly disappointing start. Actually, that was pretty annoying first game of the season on April 1st. Gosh, so many things have happened since then. The Rangers jump out to a 5-0 lead, and on comes their ace, Kyle Gibson, who I remember moaning, complaining, like, this guy is really the number one? This is the opening day starter? They can't do better than this? You know what? I was a dang idiot. This is not the reason that I was an idiot. All the starts after that are why I was an idiot. But Kyle Gibson only goes a third of an inning, gives up 5 runs, walks 3. Very un-Kyle Gibson-like start for what he did for the rest of the season. Even Taylor Hearn came in, pitched 2 1/3 innings, and gave up some runs. And Kyle Cody got blasted as well. Literally everybody just got destroyed. This one, the Rangers blew leads in the first, second, and third innings. Yeah, the offense came out there just slugging and crushing it. Joey Gallo looked great in this one. Nathaniel Lowe looked great. David Dahl had a 3-hit game. Clearly his season tanked after that. It did not go well after that, but it was just not a great game. It was a 4.5-hour game, 4 hours and 26 minutes, on the dot. 10-14 they lost, and they would lose the next one as well in not great fashion. But blowing a 5-run lead in the top of the in your very first inning was kind of a sign like, all right, we all kind of knew like maybe this is the year it sucks again. And it most definitely did suck again, and much harder than it did last year, even though they were going to pick third as opposed to second. It was still really rough. But the 5th best moment was Adolis Garcia's breakout series in Tampa Bay. The Rangers were not doing well. They had just sent Leody down because Leody had a horrible start to the season. But Adolis Garcia comes in, and he provides some much needed offense in an important time. The Rangers won 3 of 4 in Tampa Bay. That was in Tampa, at Tropicana Field, wherever the heck Tampa is actually located, for now, somewhere in the state of Florida. But he comes in, he is just okay, gets a single, goes 1 for 4 in his first game. The Rangers end up winning that one 8-3. He didn't do a whole lot in that one. And he comes up pretty big later on and gets his first major league triple, which should have been his first major league home run, but a very clutch triple and ends up helping the Rangers seal it and come back and do very well. And obviously went on to, kick butt in the month of April and destroy the entire world in the month of May, which was a whole lot of fun to watch. And that was just a really fun series of him breaking out and coming up when there were literally no expectations for him. And he blew by all of those expectations. All the nice things that Woody said weren't just fluff. They were like, oh, we really probably should have had this guy on our opening day roster. We kind of goofed on that one. And you know what? Didn't matter because he made up for lost time and then some, and was the most fun part about this team down the stretch. That was a very not fun team. So that was a very, very great moment there. The fourth worst thing that happened to this team, fourth worst moment, I'm kind of lumping some in together here because anything after September 15th with this team, it was awful. It was just straight up awful. This team had nothing left. They finished the season 6-12, and it was honestly some of the worst baseball I have ever seen. It honestly felt worse than the 12-game losing streak that they had in the middle of the season, or that hugely long road losing streak that felt like it went on for forever at the end of May and into June. It was just terrible, uninspired baseball. All the rookies that had good moments were just dying out there. Pitching staff wasn't quite anywhere near what they were in months previous. The offense was just awful. It was truly some horrifying baseball to watch. And I watched it. And if you didn't watch it, there is literally no shame in that. I am not here to shame anybody for hopping on the bandwagon of a team that's looking like it's starting to be good. If you didn't watch the back half, the final, half a month, even the final month of the season, or even the final 2 months, I'll even give you that. There is no shame here because it was some very bad baseball. Am I glad I watched it? No, but I did, and I'll do it again next year. And I'm hoping it won't be as bad. I mean, surely it can't be as bad with all the stars that they just brought in. It's not going to be that bad. It might not be great, but it's not going to be that bad. And, that's all I need for next year is just not that bad. That's really the aim for next year is just don't be truly terrible. Because from September 15th on, that I don't want to see that again out of the Rangers team for another 10 years at least. I need at least a decade to recover from how awful that was. That was 2014 the entire year. Just everything just... That is how I describe the final half month of the Rangers. I guess kind of almost full month because they played quite a while in October. But yeah, just truly horrendous baseball that I would not wish upon my worst enemies. Or maybe I would. I don't know. We got some more goods and bads and highlights and lowlights of the season to get to. But first, I want to talk to you guys about Built Bar. It's New Year's Eve day. That means New Year's resolutions. If yours is about getting fit or eating healthier, make sure to include Built Bar in your plan. Built Bar is the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, but I think some of them even taste better than candy bars. Built Bar makes it easy to stick to your resolution because it tastes so good you'll want to eat it. Unlike the other protein bars that can be chalky, waxy, or even taste like a chemical spill. You don't want to eat a chemical spill. Chemical spills are gross, and they're bad for you. Built Bars, they don't taste like chemical spills, and they won't give you magic powers, but they taste good, so you feel like you have magic powers anyway, I'm not saying that Built Bars don't give you superpowers, but I don't know, being healthy is kind of a superpower, and that's what Built Bars do for you. They all do for you, Here's an idea for the new year. You can go all in, get all your secret treat stashes. I know I have quite a few at home, in the pantry, office, or car, wherever the heck they are. You can go throw out all those sugary, calorie-filled stashes and exchange those for Built Bars. They'll taste just as good, and they're also going to be good for you. There's so many flavors to choose from. There's coconut almond, peanut butter, brownie, raspberry, cookies and cream, salted caramel, mint brownie. There's just so many, and they're always coming out with more. They're all absolutely delicious. Just go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15, and you get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. And we are back with the number 4 best moment of the Rangers season. It's kind of a random one, but it was a very great moment that is just much needed. It was between this one and the back-to-back walk-off home runs, but this one, it was against the Astros, so it just felt that much better. It was the random Sunday drubbing of the Astros. This game was on August 29th. The Rangers won 13-2 and absolutely cleaned the clocks of the Astros at the end of a series where, to be quite honest, the Rangers just got their clocks clean. But it was much needed. The Astros were completely shut down, and it was a great start from in every aspect for the Rangers. Taylor Hearn went 6 2/3 innings and only gave up a couple of runs towards the end of his tenure in that game. Struck out 6, just was fantastic and went very, very deep. 89 pitches. I think that was most he threw in any game this season. But he was just so ruthlessly efficient, getting all those Astros who are really great about making great contact and not striking out. He got him to strike out and to make bad contact. It was great multi-hit games at the top of the lineup from Yadi Hernandez and Isaiah Kiner for left as well. Adolis Garcia had the first and I believe only grand slam of the Rangers season, a 3-hit game along with 5 RBI. DJ Peters had a banger of a game, had a double, also had a home run as well off of Zach Greinke. It was just free for all for the Rangers offense. They went 7 for 17 with runners in scoring position. Leody Taveras also, got on base and got a stolen base. And, that was about the only thing he was doing well at that point. He did come back and things went better for him. But this game was lovely. I was listening to it on my drive back from hanging out with a friend in Amarillo, and just listening to the call on the radio was just, some of those games, some games you just have to listen to on the radio. There wasn't even some monumental game. Just you got to listen to at least a few Eric Nadel games on the radio during a season. Otherwise, what the heck are you even doing? What is the point of being a Rangers fan if you're not going to listen to Eric Nadel every once in a while? I'm not saying every game you got to go, try and sync your TV up with the radio, but the man's a Hall of Famer. He's a Frick Award winner. He's a frickin' winner. He is amazing. And listening to him call this game was a whole heck of a lot of fun. That whole entire radio broadcast booth just does a great job. And it was, a terrible end of the season. There was no Joey Gallo. The Rangers were down 2 of their 3 All-Stars, and the third All-Star was not playing like an All-Star. But he did in this game. He crushed the crap out of the Astros and just put a small bit of poo in the end of their season, just like the Braves did when they beat them in the World Series. That was a whole lot of fun as well. But we're talking about the best moments of the Rangers season. Number 3, the third worst thing to happen to the Rangers this season. That's right. It was a losing streak. The 12-game losing streak that sandwiched the All-Star break. The Rangers lost 2 in front of the All-Star break, and then they lost 10 in a row. 10 in a row. With 2 off days, actually 3 off days. Well, 4 if you count the All-Star break as well. But 2 off days in between all that until they could go ahead and win and break that losing streak. And this was all while Kyle Gibson was, tail spinning and tanking his trade value. And there was thought about maybe they'd trade Adolis Garcia. They were surely going to trade Joey Gallo, but I was still in deep denial about that. And Ian Kennedy was fun, and he was going to be traded. And I was just like, well, this is the last time we have these players. The last chance to actually win just a couple games. And don't win too many because you don't want to ruin your draft position for no stinking reason. But, just a few. Just a few. Not too many. But they're doing so well going in the All-Star break. They had all these lopsided wins. They had an 8-3 win against Oakland. They beat the heck out of the Royals in a sweep. And, they had a couple wins against Oakland and Seattle as well. And Detroit. But, man, that losing streak was brutal, up there with the road losing streak that was happening in the end of May and into June. It was real rough. There was a lot of real rough stretches for this team, but that one was definitely truly, truly terrible. But, there are also some good moments. And drafting Jack Leiter came right around that time. I think it was the end of July where that happened. So basically right in this losing streak. I can't remember exactly when the draft was this year. Nor can I really remember when anything was this year. Because, it's been a weird year. I'm sure all y'all feel the same way. Just a very, very weird year. But drafting Jack Leiter, number 3 overall, granted at the time, I was not happy with the pick. I'm thrilled now. I still would have loved to get one of those shortstops, especially a Jordan Lawler. I drafted a Dallas kid. That would have been really cool. Just because I trust position players a little bit more. But also, if you're going to draft a pitcher, this is the guy that the Rangers wanted. And more than anything, I wanted the Rangers to just zero in on their guy, go get him, and do whatever it takes to get him. Doesn't matter the price. You're picking second overall in the draft. You haven't picked that high in many, many moons, and you can't afford to screw it up. And so they found their guy that they liked, and they got him. And they paid a lot of money to do so, and they were very happy about it. So I was very happy about it. Their draft went really well. They ended up getting Aaron Zavala and all these other guys who I don't know much about, but I know the top two guys they were very, very happy about, and happy about how much they spent. And some of the other guys they were able to get lower on in the draft because of the weird Aaron Zavala situation as well, and how that financially played out. But, I mean, Jack Leiter's a heck of a pick. I wasn't mad. I was a little mad. But, looking back, it was a great moment. They got the guy who they want to be the future of their rotation, and that future might be coming soon. And I am very excited to see what the heck it's going to look like next year, because he's going to finally be pitching in minor league games and maybe in spring training if spring training happens. But, we're not going to go there because that was a very, very fun moment for the Rangers. I would say very clearly their third best moment, even though they picked him number 2 overall. We're going to get into even more of the top 2 worst and best moments for the Rangers in the 2021 season. But first, I want to talk to you guys about BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this holiday season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before as football season continues to march through college bowl season all the way to the pro football playoffs and on to the Super Bowl. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the sports action this season, so head to the website or use your mobile device to sign today. Receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code LOCKEDON to receive your bonus. You want to, put some money on Alabama, the Tide, the Crimson Tide, the game that I'm going to today, and we'll put a whole lot of my personal well-being and happiness invested into that one. You can invest some money into that and into, betting on me being happy because Alabama's very good at football. And, if you're going to bet on sports, you might as well do it on betonline.ag. They got all kinds of sports, basketball, football, NHL, boxing, UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season and, also 2022 because this is the last day of 2021. So it's also happening in 2022. So BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your favorite sports, so don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available. BetOnline, where the game starts. Now, we are at the second worst thing to happen to the Rangers this season, and this was something that happened early on in the season. The number 2 worst thing to happen to the Rangers was a 1-0 loss to the Rays on April 12th. Now, in case you don't remember what happened that game, Ronald Guzman was playing left field, and that was the last game that he played this season. He had no business playing in left field. You could put Nathaniel Lowe in left field. You could have been doing that all season because his defense was so bad at first base. Ronald Guzman was good, and he looked like he was turning the corner. But no, for some stupid reason, Ronald Guzman was playing in the outfield, all 6'30" of him, because there's no way he's just the 6'8" or 6'6", whatever he's listed at on his baseball reference page. He was out there, and there were 3 players all converging on a ball in shallow left field, and he ended up twisting his knee and tearing his ACL, and he was done for the season, all because he was playing a position where he shouldn't have been playing because they traded for a player they didn't really need to trade for. Even though he had a fine season, they still didn't need to trade for him, and it's still, it still bothers me that happened. That's why his season was over, right when he was finally getting his shot. He'd had his shot, and I get it. I get why. We've been over it, but emotionally, I'm not over it, and it's still very upsetting. One of the more upsetting things to happen to the Rangers this season, at least for me, and I really think that it's just devastating for him, a guy who is so beloved by the clubhouse, and I think was really making some strides. And he was still so young when they basically just said, nope, you know what, we're going to make this trade for Nathaniel Lowe, and we're going to put you in the outfield, even though you have a lot of defensive value at first base and have been, about league average first baseman, which is about what Nathaniel Lowe was this year. So that was a really upsetting moment, and I'm wishing nothing but the best for him. He's playing in the Dominican Winter League, and it seems like things are going all right for him there, hoping that he can have a major league comeback. Would have liked for it to be for the Rangers, but I don't think that's happening. I don't think he's going to claim one of the outfield spots next year because he is a first baseman. He provides a lot of value there. And best of luck to him to wherever his career continues, because I'm hoping that it's at the major league level, because he definitely deserves a shot there after all the improvements that he's made. But Moving on to the second best thing to happen to the Rangers this season. Those two of their three All-Stars making their very first All-Star appearance. Kyle Gibson had been a mostly mediocre pitcher for his career, and this year, out of nowhere, he had a fantastic breakout season with the Rangers at 2.87 ERA and 19 starts, 113 innings, and struck out 94 batters. He was just the peak of consistency this year. His age 33 season had been in the big leagues since 2013. He'd been in the bigs for such a long time, and it really finally all broke for him. Didn't look super great the beginning of 2020, but his final few starts in 2020, he really started to look like he was coming into himself. Granted, nobody noticed because everyone's so miserable because it was 2020, and also it was a shortened season, so again, very small sample size. But then he really, after that truly, truly terrible opening day start, for a lot of that, I think was kind of bad luck, and the walks were uncharacteristic. But man, all the way up into the All-Star game, he was absolutely crushing it for the Rangers. Didn't do super well with Philly. Obviously, they didn't end up winning their division. Things didn't go as well for them, but he's got another season there to figure things out and to chase the defending World Series champion Braves for an NL East title with the reigning NL MVP in Bryce Harper and some other pretty decent players on that staff. But man, that was a really cool moment to see him get that. And for Garcia, a guy who had been DFA'd by his own team literally that same season. And he comes up and he absolutely crushes it for the first 3 months. I mean, yeah, he fell off at the back half of the season. It doesn't matter. Adolis Garcia is always going to be a Major League All-Star. He is always should have been the Rookie of the Year, and is, according to Sporting News, which is the only publication whose awards I recognized for, this specific year on this specific award. But still, the guy had an amazing season. No matter what happens for the rest of his career, which I think is still going to be a pretty solid Major League career, he's going to be a Major League All-Star. Nobody can take that away from him, and he is incredibly deserving of that. What a really cool moment. And also seeing Joey Gallo in the home run derby. It didn't go as well as I would have liked it. I thought there would be more damage. But, Joey Gallo and his abundance of kindness and caution, instead of crushing the nuclear missiles that he should have been launching at a Coors Field home run derby, he decided to spare the lives of those in attendance and throw the contest for Trevor Story, because it was a consolation prize, because Trevor Story wasn't going to be able to be a Texas Ranger, or, barring something absolutely bonkers insane, which is not going to happen. The bonkers insane things already happened with Rangers offseason. They're not getting Trevor Story. Stop that. Whoever, all three of you who heard that and thought, oh, maybe? No, don't do that. Don't do that. Already good things have already happened. Let someone else have a Trevor Story. We got a Trevor Story at home that's a better Trevor Story. It's not him. It's Corey Seager. They spent a lot of money on him. Anyway, that was a really cool moment for the Rangers this season. I would say pretty clearly the second best moment for the Rangers this season. And then we go to the worst moment this season. Joey Gallo is traded. I'm still clearly totally over this 100%, 110%, not affected by it at all. Definitely not upset to the very core of my being about the cheap out contract extension offer, only to go spend a record amount of money in an offseason literally 3 months later. I mean, Ezekiel Duran being really good has been fine and fun and cool. Josh H. Smith being all right is fine, fun, and cool. Glenn Otto had a couple of good moments. He's got a really nice slider. Maybe he could start some games sometime. But none of those guys, even in their 95th percentile, really comes close to what Joey Gallo was doing this season before the Rangers traded him. He is an incredibly valuable baseball player. So much fun to watch. So deeply misunderstood by people who don't really get what a good baseball player is. They just see batting average bad, so he bad. And you can't help everybody. Not everybody gets what it takes to be a good baseball player. But that's fine. Joey Gallo is a damn good baseball player, and I am going to be deeply upset that he is not on this Rangers team for a long, long time. But I do still wish him the best wherever he is, because he's brought me so much baseball joy. And seeing him be traded was a gut punch that not even all the denial in the world could prepare me for. And I'm sure a lot of you felt the same way as well. There may be some of you that were like tooting your horns, like, woo woo, we got rid of the stupid overrated guy. Well, shut up, leave me alone. Don't talk about his batting average to me. Talk about it to your own friends in your shameful circles, where you hide how much you don't know about baseball. But Joey Gallo is a good player, and losing him was a very upsetting part of a very upsetting season. The worst thing to happen to the Rangers this season, and I don't think it's particularly close. Not close. You know what was the best moment this season? Of course, it's another Joey Gallo moment. It was him breaking the 12-game losing streak with a game-winning home run in his final game as a Texas Ranger on July 27th. Yes, it was just against stupid Diamondbacks. Who cares? It was just against the Diamondbacks. Whatever. I care. I care a lot. It was the capper on a 5-run inning in the bottom of the fourth. Cole Calhoun had a 2-hit game that game. Future Ranger great. Joey Gallo had a 3-run home run, his final one of the season with the Rangers, his 25th off of Taylor Widener, with 2 on and 2 out into deep center field. It was beautiful. It was majestic, just like Joey Gallo. And then at the end of the game, to start breaking my deep denial, along with maybe the 2 other people who didn't realize that, yeah, for sure he's getting traded. He gave a very heartfelt, moving speech about how much the Rangers fans meant to him, how much he loved Texas, and how much he was going to miss Rangers fans if he was going to be traded, even though he knew at that point that he was going to be traded at some point, probably within the next 24 hours. That was a very special moment that Joey didn't have to do, that he didn't get the opportunity to do in 2020 when he thought that might happen as well. But he got the chance to tell Rangers fans how much they meant to him. And, I'm not going to say that I made this podcast entirely to tell Joey Gallo how much he meant to me. But, it's about, at least a good 5% of why I started this podcast. It's not why I continue to do it. I mean, I still probably bring him up way too often for a guy who's not on the Rangers anymore. But, it's fine. But that was just a really special moment for a very special player who obviously means a lot to me. And I know meant a whole lot to Rangers fans as well. Gave the Rangers fans a whole lot of really, really fun moments. And, if things break right, I'm not going to even allow myself to believe this, but, maybe could make some fun memories with the Rangers in the future. I don't know. Anything's possible. This is such a weird year for, everybody. For the Rangers especially, for baseball, for sports, for all kinds of stuff. Things started getting back to what feels like a normal, which is a lot of fun and, deeply needed after a bad 2021 season that was not only bad for the Rangers, it was also short. And this one, the first and hopefully only 100-loss season the Rangers have in the 2000s. Maybe that's not entirely possible, but, let a man dream. Hopefully at least the only 100-loss season in the 2020s. Give it another couple decades. Then we can see maybe a 100-loss season, and I can be okay with that. But this was a rough one, but it also had some really great moments. And thank God that this year ended on a great note of getting Marcus Semien and Corey Seager. Man, I'm very much looking forward to 2022. It'll definitely be a whole heck of a lot better of a regular season than the 2021 season was. So let us, take our shovels and bury this stupid crap season with a lot of sadness and heartache and look forward to the new shiny toys the Rangers have, the new fancy, fun, all-star level players that the Rangers are going to be bringing in next season, and the optimism and fun that comes with a young team with literally no expectations next year. That's going to do it for the 2021 episodes of Locked On Rangers. I think we made it and even 200 episodes this year, which is kind of wild and fun. Thank you guys so much for joining me this season. I'll be back next year on Monday with the first episode of 2022. Thank you guys so much for following and subscribing. Anyone who listened to this podcast or watched it on YouTube or, left a mediocre iTunes review, all of you guys who reached out on Twitter or anything, if you listen to this podcast and enjoy it, that means a whole lot to me, and I am very grateful for each and every one of you. I hope you all have a great 2022. May it be better than the Rangers 2021 regular season was, because I know It sure as shoot can't be worse. That's going to do it for this edition of Locked On Rangers. And until next time, don't forget to enjoy baseball.